Hello, eighth graders. We are in week 9. We are talking about atoms, and we're going to jump right in today. We should be able to explain Dalton's atomic theory by the end of this lesson. You probably know what this sketch represents. It's a model of an atom, one of the minuscule particles that make up all matter. The idea that matter consists of extremely tiny particles called atoms was first introduced about 2,500 years ago by a Greek philosopher named Democritus. However, other philosophers living about 100 years after Democritus considered Democritus' ideas ridiculous, and it was more or less forgotten for over 2,000 years. Around the 1800s, the English chemist John Dalton brought back Democritus' idea of the atom. You can see a picture of Dalton here. Dalton grew up in a working class family. As an adult, he made a living by teaching and just did research in his spare time. Nevertheless, from his research, he developed one of the most important theories in all of science. Based on his research results, he was able to demonstrate that atoms actually do exist, something that Democritus had only guessed. Keep in mind, this is back in the 1800s. He was able to demonstrate, to show that atoms exist. Dalton's experiments that provided evidence for the existence of atoms included these. He investigated pressure and other properties of gases, from which he inferred that gases must consist of tiny individual particles that are in constant random motion. He also researched the properties of compounds, which are substances that consist of more than one element. He showed that a given compound is always comprised of the same elements in the same whole number ratio, and that different compounds consist of different elements or ratios. This can happen, Dalton reasoned, only if elements are made of separate, discrete particles that cannot be subdivided. From his research, Dalton developed a theory about atoms. Dalton's atomic theory consists of 3 basic ideas that can be broken up into more than 3. They are that all substances are made of atoms. Atoms are the smallest particles of matter. They cannot be divided into smaller particles, created or destroyed. So they cannot be divided, they cannot be created, they cannot be destroyed. All atoms of the same element are alike and have the same mass. Atoms of different elements are different and have different masses. Atoms join together to form compounds, and a given compound always consists of the same kinds of atoms in the same proportions. Dalton's atomic theory was accepted by many scientists almost immediately, and Democritus gained new respect. Most of it is still accepted today. However, scientists now know that atoms are not the smallest particles of matter. Atoms consist of several types of smaller particles, including protons, neutrons, and electrons. Because Dalton thought that atoms were the smallest particles of matter, he envisioned them as solid, hard spheres, like billiard or pool balls. So he used wooden balls to model them. 3 of his model atoms are pictured here. Do you see the holes in the balls? Dalton added these so the model atoms could be joined together with hooks and used to model compounds. So a question. When scientists discovered smaller particles inside the atom, they realized that Dalton's atomic models were too simple. How do modern atomic models differ from Dalton's models? Take a moment and think about this. Write down your answer. If you still need more time, you need to pause the video. Do not go on until you've written down your answer. What? You didn't pause the video yet? Pause the video and write down your answer, please. How do modern atomic models differ from Dalton's models? Well, let's check your answer. Modern atomic models, like the one pictured at the top of this article, usually represent subatomic particles, including electrons, protons, and neutrons. In summary, around 1800, the English chemist John Dalton reintroduced the idea of the atom, which was first introduced by the ancient Greek philosopher named Democritus. Dalton did many experiments with gases and compounds that provided evidence for the existence of atoms. Dalton developed an atomic theory that is still mostly accepted today. It is one of the most important theories in all of science. Dalton thought individual atoms were solid, hard spheres, so he modeled them with wooden balls. So, are you able to explain Dalton's atomic theory? If not, feel free to go back and go through the video one more time. And if so, feel free to go and start the first assignment. Have a great day.